All right, let's go ahead and kick things off. Happy May, happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. We're delighted to have you with us today at the monthly May HICP meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and in about a week's time will be posted on the hicpla.org website. We do ask all attendees to please mute yourself unless you are speaking. We also invite you to turn your audio and video on or off by using the microphone or camera button on your toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We want this to be an interactive session, so we encourage you to raise a hand or type a question into the chat so we can make sure that our speakers can respond to you at the appropriate time. Also, we do have interpretation into Spanish available. So please, everybody, select the globe at the bottom of your screen so you can fully participate in the meeting in both English and Spanish. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. Hope you are having a beautiful, somewhat wet, somewhat sunny Friday in May. We are celebrating a beautiful Cinco de Mayo health fair at the Los Angeles General Medical Center campus. So we invite and encourage you to all come out and join us today at our beautiful medical center that was recently renamed and rebranded. We'll get more to that in a little bit. Our agenda for today, we're doing our meeting overview, guiding principles and announcements right now. Then we'll be having an update on our Restorative Care Village Crisis Residential and Recuperative Care Center. We'll have an update on the Los Angeles General Medical Center, a community health update, brief updates on workforce development and on our Restorative Care Village permanent supportive housing. We will also be speaking about the General Hospital West Campus. And then we've invited some special guests to speak with us about housing in our community, and we're still confirming those speakers. So stay tuned for a potential surprise presentation that'll be joining us at about 10:15, 10:20. And that, my friends, is what we will be covering with you today. Before we could get started, I'll go ahead and read aloud the guiding principles that were agreed upon by the Health Innovation Community Partnership members back in our founding in 2017. All participants agree to basic principles prioritizing equity, community resilience, and health in all programs and projects. All participants agree to approach issues with an open mind, be willing to engage in dialogue, and commit to thinking boldly about solutions. Participants will state views and ask genuine questions. Participants will seek to avoid monologues and arguments, move to conversations where participants are curious, and seek to understand various points of view. Participants will explain reasoning intent, share how we reach our conclusions so that others can understand our divergent reasoning. Participants will attack the problem and not the person, organization, or institution. Participants will define key terms so that we can attain a shared understanding. Participants will share all relevant information. Participants will always arrive prepared for the meeting. During meetings, only one person speaks at a time. We will not engage in sidebar conversations. Participants will work to develop a comprehensive, common set of information with which to solve problems and make decisions. Participants will jointly design next steps. With that, I am delighted to welcome Dr. Brad Spellberg, who's here to join us today to speak a little bit about the Restorative Care Village Crisis Residential and Recuperative Care Center on the Los Angeles General Campus. With that, I invite Brad to take it away.
Thanks, Heather. So I appreciate the opportunity to give a quick update. Some questions that I guess are on folks' mind is, how has this been working? Have we been actually placing patients successfully into these housing opportunities? And is it just for East LA County residents, or what are the, how do people get in? So entry into the 96 recuperative care beds, which are the medical side, are controlled by an entity called Housing for Health, which is an agency within the Department of Health Services, government. So it's part of the LA County Department of Health Services. It's an agency within that department. Applications for those beds get submitted to Housing for Health. They have strict criteria they use For example, because these are not licensed beds, there's no nursing, there's no professional medical people on site. These are attendants. These are like, this would be like if you had a sibling or a parent at home to help you. This is like going to a place where someone is around without medical expertise to just help you with just normal things of daily living. And so they have to make sure that patients can ambulate or get around in a wheelchair on their own. They have to be able to brush their teeth and bathe themselves. They don't have to cook because meals are provided, but they have to be able to get to the kitchen or to the cafeteria to eat. And so there's this checklist that the Housing for Health people go through to make sure they're not going to end up taking someone they cannot actually provide care for. It does take, in our experience, an average of 3 to 5 business days. They do not process these applications on weekends or holidays. And so the average, when we've looked at the last year or so, since we started placing patients there, calendar days, it's been an average of 6 to 7 days from the time we submit the application to the time the person is actually transported over to the bed. And we have placed approximately 150 people in these beds during that year. So it definitely is working. Now that's just the number of people we've placed from this hospital. These beds are a county-wide resource. They are not limited to people from this hospital. So undoubtedly other patients have been placed in these beds as well, either from other hospitals or other referral points. I was asked to comment on whether it's possible to get placed in these beds if you have not come to the hospital. Is there a way to do it from the community? And intuitively, seems like there should be. There's no reason you should have to go to an emergency department to do this. But honestly, because I do not run Housing for Health, I did not know the answer. I have asked the director of community programming for DHS, and I'm waiting to hear back from him. If they do not have such a mechanism, it's certainly something we could ask them to develop, but I'm still waiting to hear back from them on whether family members could call a certain number. I can tell you that there will need to be paperwork completed so that, again, the Housing for Health people can make sure that the people who end up in these beds are not going to require care beyond what the staff are capable of providing. But I certainly think it should be possible to do community-based placement. I just don't know the answer. And as soon as I hear back from them, I'll pass the answer on to Heather, who can share it with the HICP group. Now that's the recuperative care beds, which is you don't have a mental illness. That's everyone else. The crisis residential beds are explicitly for mental health. They are actually operated completely independently. They are not operated through Housing for Health or a contractor reporting to Housing for Health. They are operated by the Department of Mental Health via subcontracts to operators. DMH has its own entry pathway. So when people are in our hospital, instead of contacting Housing for Health, we submit an application to the specific liaison at Department of Mental Health, and that's how we access the beds for crisis residential. I did ask the mental health people, is there a community-based referral process? And their answer was there absolutely is. So there are several ways that community members who are not hospitalized can access the crisis residential beds. First, across the street from County Hospital, LA General, is an urgent care, a psychiatric urgent care called Exodus. And Exodus has the ability to refer from that urgent care, even for people that do not need to go to the hospital. I'm also told by DMH that there are forms that a private physician can submit. So if you go to a doctor in a clinic or in their office and you're homeless and they think you would benefit, that there are forms they can complete and submit directly to the Department of Mental Health in order for placement to occur in the residential treatment beds. So that was the information I kind of have. I'm happy to try to answer any other questions if folks have them.
Anyone have any questions for Brad? Brad, I have one question. What is the average length of stay at the recuperative care center?
That's a great question. I don't actually have the hard number. I can tell you the intent is 6-ish weeks, and that they have social workers on site who during your stay there are looking for permanent supportive housing to move you into community reintegration. But I can also tell you 100%, it doesn't expire at 6 weeks. That's the intent. But we definitely have had people stay there for a year. You stay as long as is needed until you can find the next level of community reintegration for you to move to.
So a wide variation, I'm sure, is experienced.
Correct.
And Carrie, I see you have your hand raised. Would you care to ask a question?
Yeah, I have two questions on the crisis residential. One is it exclusively for people who are experiencing homelessness, or are there other ways one might end up in the crisis residential treatment program? For example, coming through maybe the urgent care. And also, then is there an attempt to link people with permanent housing coming out of that program instead of, being released back into homelessness?
Yes, absolutely, Carrie. So for both the recoup and crisis residential, there are social workers on site who are attempting while you're there to find permanent supportive housing, or it may be that you have a home, but that home needed to be renovated, or family members needed equipment, or there's some barrier for you to going home. The social workers are attempting to help find the next level of community reintegration for you. So the intent is not to be streeted after. The intent is to move you to a permanent housing solution after both recoup and crisis residential. Recoup is largely for homelessness, although again, there are some patients who actually do have a physical location they could go to. They're just not ready yet. They're not strong enough yet. They need some wound care, and we can send wound care to the recoup. And so once they have there's some block that's preventing them from accessing a housing location they could otherwise access. This is a 6-week opportunity for them to get better to the point, well, now they actually can go to that location. For the crisis residential, certainly homelessness is a huge part of it, but really this is about you have a mental health issue. You are not ready to live independently. You need some time, you need some healing, you need some involvement with a social worker. So it isn't strictly for homelessness, but obviously there's just a huge interaction between mental health and homelessness. So a high percentage of the patients are homeless. And again, the goal is to seek permanent supportive housing for those individuals.
And we have a question in the chat from Gerson. Can you speak to the utilization levels? Are there currently beds available?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because I don't operate the beds, they're operated by JWCH. The recoup side is operated by JWCH, working for Housing for Health, and the crisis residential beds are operated by 4 different contractors for DMH. I can tell you, so I can't tell you the day-to-day, what does it look like today? What I can tell you is there are usually open beds, but part of the problem we've been having is that just as hospitals and skilled nursing facilities have had staffing shortages, it's been very difficult for the operators of these beds to have all the beds staffed. And so even if there are open beds, they may be open because they don't have enough staff to allow people into those beds. I've been told they've been working very hard to staff up. Hopefully that's getting better. So I suspect there are beds that are unoccupied right now, but I suspect most of those are unoccupied because they just don't have the staff necessary to allow occupation. And hopefully that's improving as we emerge from the pandemic and enter the endemic phase of the virus.
Thank you, Brad. Yeah, I can see a lot of just exciting opportunity in this facility as we move forward and kind of, gain rhythm and gain experience with how this can best be used to serve community needs. I know that you have to pivot, I think, to another meeting at 9 o'clock. So any final questions for Brad? Oh, Isidro, I see a hand.
Yes, hi, good morning. Quick question on the staffing. If there's a way that I can connect with you. So I work for the county's Department of Economic Opportunity. I'll be giving a workforce development update later, but if there's any way you can help me connect So maybe we can assist with the staffing and help recruit, and particularly from the local community as well. But anything that we can do to help staff, please let me know.
That would be great, Isidro, and good morning. Is there anybody from JWCH on the call right now? Because that would be the key for the recoup, since they're the operators, if they could connect with you. And then for the residential treatment program, it's the 4 different contractors for DMH. And
Yeah.
my DMH contact is Joanne Yanagamoto Pineda, who really has been a tremendous manager for DMH over the program.
You said Joanne Yakamoto Pineda.
Correct.
Yeah, and Isidro, I'm happy to. I think I have some contact information for some of the operators because they presented it at previous HICPs. I'm happy to send an email around connecting all of you with that offer of support for staffing, because I know, like Brad mentioned, it's been a challenge to be fully staffed. It'd be lovely to lean more into DEO's resource bank for that.
Please, thank you.
Any other final questions about our recuperative care center and crisis treatment residential program at the Los Angeles General Medical Center? I know I have to continuously update some of our iconography and some of our language. We'll get there over time, I promise. Monica's got a hand raised. And Monica, thank you for your offer in the chat to speak about Exodus's role in this referral process. Monica. You are muted, Monica, if you're speaking to us.
Okay, so I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I had one of my clients that was at a different hospital. He was referred to the mental health facility. And I just want to say that the staff there is great. He really enjoyed his time there, as much as you can when you're going through, crisis, right? And I just like, it was very, I felt very proud and very glad that hearing his side of the experience that he had there and about the staff. And just like, I think it's a really great place. We placed him after he was done with the program there. But I just think that this just gave me really like I was very emotional, right? And I just think that everybody there is doing a great job, and the staff is really great, and it's just a great place that we needed, right? There was not a lot of places for people to be that are in crisis, and this just is another one. But again, like if you need help, you can always go across the street to Exodus. They have an urgent care, and there's also a program specifically to help those that are experiencing homelessness. And it's at the building where the 7-Eleven is at. But if you guys have questions, I can always help connect you guys. But again, I just want to say that this whole process and then just seeing it actually like with people there, it's amazing. And thank you to everybody that was involved and helped making that happen.
Thank you, Monica. That's really helpful feedback. And my experience has been the same. People that have come to our clinics from these beds have been extraordinarily appreciative, and the facilities are beautiful, and it's very it's inducive to healing. There's plants, there's like it's a natural healing environment. There's lots of natural light in the building, so they did a tremendous job putting this program together.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's a wonderful testament to the provider side and then the kind of the patient side, the client side. Thank you, Monica, for bringing that perspective forward. Well, any additional questions before we kind of pivot to our next piece of the program? All right. Well, thank you again for your time this morning, Brad, to bring us that quick update on just how things are going. So exciting that at 1 year in, we're really seeing the results of this incredible space on our campus to just continue that model of care that takes people from a hospital room to care and ultimately back to permanent housing in the community. So thank you so much. Really appreciating your time this morning. And thanks for weighing in, Monica, on that experience as well. All right. So next up, we are not joined this morning by Jorge Orozco. He is busy doing some other things with this incredible event on our campus this morning, but he has made sure that there is a video that he wanted us to share to make sure that that we kind of can enjoy the entire experience of this new rebranding event that happened just this week. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off. Give me one quick second while I move some screens around so we can share this video that Jorge and team have prepared for us. And here we go, a message from our CEO. Can everyone hear and see?
I am really thrilled to share this exciting news with you today. After months of careful consideration and research, we are excited to announce the renaming of LAC USC Medical Center to Los Angeles General Medical Center. This new name will help us better represent the breadth of our services, and it honors our hospital's rich history and connection to our community. The unveiling of our brand is an opportunity to celebrate the incredible staff who have helped build us as a medical center that is a model for public health systems across the United States. Our new name is followed by our new motto, Exceptional Care, Healthy Communities, which summarizes our mission to provide excellent whole person care to all. We are proud to continue our partnership with the Keck School of Medicine of USC to provide exceptional care to our patients while equipping the next generation of physicians as one of the premier academic teaching hospitals in the nation. The unveiling of our new brand follows years-long initiative to engage those at the heart of our operation, including patients, the greater Los Angeles community, and staff. Our research process consisted of multiple surveys and focus groups and listening sessions with community members, and what we found was that about half of our patients, our staff, and our community did not call us LAC USC, and there was significant confusion with the hospital across the street. From the data, we determined that our medical center is highly regarded by patients and our community, though there is an opportunity to draw greater awareness to our unique world-class medical center. Given the rich cultural and ethnic diversity that defines the city of Los Angeles, it was also important to ensure that the new brand is accessible across different languages. Rebranding a major medical center is a significant undertaking, and we are proud to have followed a research-driven process guided primarily by the perspectives of those that we serve. For decades, LA General has served as the flagship public health facility in Los Angeles, and it will continue to do so moving into the future. On a personal note, when I was 17 years old, I volunteered here at General Hospital. Our community knew and recognized this place as General Hospital. And as CEO of this medical center, I am so proud to represent LA General into the future.
All right. So isn't that exciting, everyone? I hope you all got the news earlier this week, but this is the best possible way to make that big announcement that after a lot of research and thoughtful consideration, we have renamed our medical center in alignment with the community voice and community values and those that work at the hospital. And henceforward, the center will be known as Los Angeles General Medical Center, which is a wonderful opportunity to bridge our history with our future. And we're so excited to get to share that video and that announcement with you all.
Heather, I know Jorge's not on, but we do have a few of us from executive team on the call that could answer questions if anyone has any questions. A few of the questions, we do have a fact sheet, and I know, for example, Kenny Castro is on, our PIO, and there's a question and answer that we can send out. Some of the questions folks have been asking are things like, have we privatized the hospital? And as you can hear from Jorge's presentation, it has not been privatized. It is still the public hospital. It is just that rename with exceptional care and a focus on healthy communities. And we're really proud of that because, you know, at the foundation, we've made a huge commitment over at least the tenure I've been here and the tenure that that Jorge has been here, really the opportunity to engage you and to continue to do many different efforts in our community that allow us to bring our medical center and bring health closer to our community. So healthy communities for us is really important as part of that motto. And again, I think a lot of that speaks to the commitment that you all have made to be with us, you know, on these calls and in-person meetings for the last 6 years. Over the next month, we're going to be able to put together a few community meetings. And part of it is about re-engaging health innovation community partnership into our neighborhoods again. You all remember in 2019, we did those community meetings series. And so we may not do all of them in every neighborhood, but we will do a few. And there are a few that are already, you know, coming on the calendar. We will be reaching out to you to help us engage with our community and the constituencies that we have in those areas where the meetings will occur in person. So again, just thank you so much, everyone, for your partnership and for making LA General an exciting place to be. You know, I think that coupled with what we've been hearing this morning from Dr. Spellberg, you know, the fact that we have 5 new buildings erected with the significant community feedback that you all have given, you know, really demonstrate the opportunity that we have for a transformed health environment that is led by our medical center. So thank you, everyone, again, and I'll send it back to you, Heather.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you so much for the kind offer of being able to respond to any questions people may have. Does anyone have questions or comments that they'd like to chime in at this time? I think the outreach campaign has done a wonderful job in that case, because it feels like everyone really does have a good sense of why this has come about, and we're very excited once again to be able to bring this partnership into conversation, continuous conversation with the Los Angeles General Medical Center, so we can be responsive to all of these incredible developments, opportunities, projects, and priorities that happen on and around our healthcare campus.
Wonderful. And I see that, Connie, you put in the fact sheet online. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you. You know, Connie had a lot of sleepless nights. So just want to do a shout out to you, Connie, and the team that worked so diligently to ensure that the process of changing our name and going through the community process of listening, you know, was a strong one, and one that you know, yielded this kind of success. So congratulations, Connie.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you.
Yes, a big round of applause for everyone who really contributed to this incredible effort. Glad to hear from you, Vivian, that you joined us on Wednesday. It was a wonderful event. And so very excited that so many of our leaders and supporters were able to come out and join us for that really fantastic event. So congratulations, Connie, team, and everyone who participated in making it a successful day. But more things continue to happen on our on our Los Angeles General Medical Center campus. I'll have to kind of keep retraining myself a little bit on that. Today, we have a wonderful event on the campus. It's an opportunity to bring everyone out to see the new logo live and on our walls. But please come join us for a Cinco de Mayo Health Fair. It'll be held in the courtyard of the medical center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's going to be entertainment, special performances, refreshments available, and just a lot of wonderful information. So we invite all of you in the community to come join us today for a beautiful celebration in alignment with the renaming of the hospital, as well as, you know, celebrating community health on Cinco de Mayo. And then also upcoming next week, we have National Hospital and Nurses Week. And you'll see here an incredible array of activities that are happening all throughout the week. And once again, there are several that are open to the public, and we invite you to come join us. In particular, we want to make mention of the memorial service that will be held on Monday, May 8th at 1:00 p.m. Rosa, do you want to add any comments about the memorial service that will be happening this Monday?
You know, for the past few years, oh, hold on. Just want to make sure I wasn't on mute. For the past few years, for the past few years, we've been able to come together and really commemorate the service of those that that heal our most vulnerable. And I know as a community we had a lot of loss over COVID, and as you might imagine, our healthcare team did as well. So this is an opportunity for us to stand with them, to celebrate their lives, to celebrate their commitment to service and engagement, and to ensure that they know that there is a full community that is behind them, supporting them and remembering them. And so for those that, continue to serve, it's a healing opportunity. And for those that we have lost, it's a commemorative, right, space. And so we'll be there in front of the courtyard from 1 to 2 o'clock on Monday. If you want to join us, it will be a solemn, solemn, quiet celebration, but really one that we thought was extremely important to continue as we move forward, because we value every single person that has gave their life in service, right, to the healing of our hospital patients, of our community. So that's about what I can share. There will be, a few refreshments. There will be, a ceremony of like releasing doves, which is traditionally, something that many cultures use to signify the release of that energy, that spirit, the souls of those that are not, that have left us in their physical spirit and in their physical person. And so anyway, it'll be a nice celebration. It'll be great to see many of you there. So please join us if you'd like.
Thank you so much, Rosa. Yes, so Monday we'll have the celebration of the life through the memorial service at 1:00. On Tuesday, we will have a nursing educational fair. So if you know people that are interested in the nursing profession, we invite you to come out and learn more about the opportunities. It is a really incredible, motivating spirit to be celebrating National Hospital Week and National Nurses Week, and really celebrating the wonderful people that inhabit our medical center space and really make the healthcare system come to life for everyone. So please join there. Then again, on Wednesday, of course, we will have our regular town hall with medical center leadership. Please be sure to tune into that. Hope you do so every week, Wednesdays at 8:30. And then on Thursday and Friday, we're going to be celebrating the Nurses and Hospital Week. And in particular, we invite you to come out again on Friday to hear the Bravo Medical Magnet School Band. They're really phenomenal youngsters with their musical talent, and they are just prodigies. So they will be performing in the courtyard from 10 to 2 on Friday. So a really fun series of activities all week. Like I say, tune in, join us where you can, and we hope that you are able to participate in some or many of the activities next week. All right. Well, with that, we are ready to pivot on to the next portion. Unless there are any questions about any of the activities that are happening next week on the campus. All right, seeing none then, we will move on. We are very excited to be joined by partners of ours from the Department of Mental Health and the Department of Public Health that'll be giving some brief updates on community health issues. With that, I invite Connie Draxler, Chief Deputy of the LA County Department of Mental Health, to join us and continue our conversation about care courts.
Thanks, Heather, and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am going to try and share a PowerPoint, so we'll see how this goes. I was not, could not get it done in time to get it to Heather. So let me see if
no worries. It's working, Connie.
working. That's always a good
Yay.
sign. So again, good morning, everyone. I'm Connie Draxler. I'm the acting chief deputy actually for the Department of Mental Health. And I'm going to do an overview of CARE, the CARE court process. You may already have heard some of it. I will kind of go over some of the eligibility and elements of CARE again. This is a pretty complicated process and system and law. So I think hearing it over and over for the community is very important. So you understand what will be the eligibility criteria and how this will implement here in LA County. Okay, so this is basically a program by which the community and many individuals in the community or entities in the community will have the opportunity to petition directly to the court for a court supervised treatment type program. There is emphasis on trying to get voluntary participation by clients, but there is also what we would call somewhat of an involuntary process involved with CARE Court or the CARE Act. So we'll go through some of the criteria of who would qualify for CARE Act, who can apply, and a little bit of the process, and then we'll talk a little bit about the implementation that's happening here in LA County. So basically, basic criteria is an individual will need to be 18 years or older, and they must suffer from some specific mental health disorders. So this is one of the unique features of CARE Court. It does not apply to all mental health disorders. It applies to illnesses in the schizophrenia spectrum or other psychotic disorders. So those on the higher end of acuity for individuals experiencing mental illness, having those disorders. The individual additionally should not be stabilized or clinically stabilized in a treatment program. And then there is some additional criteria factors, one of which that you would have at least one of these to qualify: impaired insight and judgment, in need of services and supports to prevent relapse or deterioration that could lead to grave disability, and grave disability is the criteria for conservatorship. CARE Court must be the least restrictive alternative available for an individual, and there must be the idea that the person would, or one of these would be that they're likely to benefit from the CARE Court participation. So a petition can be filed where the person lives, where the person is found, that's pretty unique, or where a person is facing criminal or civil proceedings, so court proceedings that can be done in that county. Traditionally, when you think about court filings, it's usually about residency. You'll notice that this one really isn't about residency. It's about, it can be residency, it can be where they're found, it can be where they're facing some court proceedings. Who can petition? Pretty much anyone. It's pretty wide open as to who can file a petition. Anyone 18 years or older for whom the respondent resides with, parent, spouse, siblings, adult child of the respondent, the director of a hospital where the client is, and I'm going to go back and forth between client and respondent. They generally refer to the individual receiving it as respondent, but we usually refer to the clients we're working with as clients. The director of the public or charitable organization, agency, or home that was previously before providing some sort of behavioral health services, or the institution where the individual may currently reside. A licensed behavioral health professional who is supervising or treating the respondent for their mental illness. A first responder, this is very unique, a peace officer, firefighter, paramedic, EMT, mobile crisis worker, homeless outreach worker can petition. Obviously, the public guardian or public conservator could move someone from conservatorship down to CARE Court, as it is an alternative to conservatorship. The director of the county behavioral health agency. So for us, that is the director of mental health, which is Dr. Lisa Wong or her designees. And then misdemeanor incompetent to stand trial court can also order a referral to CARE Court. So a lot of eligible individuals to petition. I talked about the criteria necessary for the individual to qualify. There is some additional requirements when filing the petition. You either have to have an affidavit by a licensed mental health professional who has seen the respondent or attempted to examine the respondent within 60 days, who will affirm that based on their examination or review of record, the person meets or is likely to meet the criteria that we talked about earlier. Or you add to the petition evidence of detention of intensive treatment for the 5250. Those are 14-day holds within 90 days of the petition. So you have to have some close evidence of the 5250 to attach to your petition. This is a process that has due process, which means that there is going to be an attorney for the respondent. There are court procedures, a lot of court procedures that go on in this process. And the respondent has a right to know that this petition has been filed against them. They get a right to the evaluation. They get to be present in court if they want to. They can present evidence, call witnesses. So it's very, looks very much like a court proceeding. It has all of the elements of a court proceeding. So when you get to a hearing, there's a petitioner. The petitioner must be in court, and then the behavioral health agency or DMH must be in court. If there's a supporter, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, they shall be allowed in the court. And if someone's found to meet criteria, there's actually two pathways that can happen with this. One can be, will the client voluntarily agree to participate in care? That would be then developing a care agreement. And if a person will not do the voluntary agreement, then we move down a process of what is more involuntary, where the court orders everyone to do a care plan. So care agreement will designate it's more the voluntary process. The care plan tells us more that it's more of the involuntary process. There can be court-ordered clinical evaluations by DMH, and in the workflow, and that's something we can share at some point in the future, is our kind of the workflow of how this goes through the court. Hearings are very quick. In many cases, every 14 days, there is a hearing going on. So there's not a lot of time between orders and then reporting back to the court. If at some point in the involuntary process, we have an evaluation hearing and there's evidence that the person does in fact meet criteria, even though they have not voluntarily agreed, we're ordered to develop a joint plan. And this is really kind of interesting, right? Because usually a clinician and a client will be working on the treatment plan, but in this process, it will be the clinician, the client, their attorney, and a supporter. So anyone that's supporting them through the process. So this is really interesting for everyone. I think going to be different for the clinicians too, to have the client's attorney there during the treatment planning process. The court has to approve our care plans and move us through. And the process is 1 year. You can be in care court for 1 year, and there can be 1 year of an extension. So no more than 2 years for the care court process. And there's a lot of status hearings and progress review hearings that will go on. Here's what needs to be in the care plan, right? We need to talk about what mental health and substance use treatment will be provided. It can include medically necessary stabilization medications, including antipsychotics. Long injectables can be done, but that all has to be on a voluntary basis. No medication shall be forcibly administered. There does need to be a housing plan that describes the needs, the housing needs for the respondent, and what resources are to be considered or offered. This is a very interesting piece of the legislation. If you've seen some of the press releases or press conferences about this, one of the target populations is our homeless population. Unfortunately, housing is not a requirement in this process. So housing can be offered. We have to tell the court what's available and what we have offered, but the court cannot order housing or require the county to provide housing. So just an interesting piece to know there. But They are going to be prioritized for the behavioral health bridge housing program. This is money that was just recently released by the state to the counties. And in the first round of funding, it only went to the county Department of Mental Health or behavioral health agencies. And that money is then going to be used to help us bring on interim housing, permanent supportive housing, and tiny homes, you name it. We're gonna be using that. And for whatever housing we put in place for this grant funding, our care court participants will be prioritized for that housing. And in LA County, both DMH and DPH will be planning housing. There is accountability in this legislation. Individuals who do not participate or are failing to comply, the court can actually just terminate the proceedings, and they would not be any further follow-up. They could order an evaluation under 5200 to see if the individual is a danger to themselves or others or gravely disabled. They can order the public guardian to investigate for conservatorship. And also, if there is a conservatorship proceeding within 6 months of falling out of care court, that can be used as evidence to support that a conservatorship is necessary. And then the other big thing that we see is that the court can find that if the county is not complying with court orders, the county can be fined $1,000 per day up to $25,000 per person. If there is persistence non-compliance, the court could actually order a receiver to secure the court-ordered cost at the county's court-ordered care at the county's cost. So there are 2 cohorts. First cohort was originally 7 counties that would be starting in October 2023. There was, as all other counties were to then implement by December 2024. LA County is an early adopter, which means we are going to advance from from cohort 2 to cohort 1. But we did get permission to delay our implementation from October to December. So our implementation date right now is December 1st, 2023. But that is still contingent upon LA County receiving funding. So cohort county, the other cohort counties received not only planning money, but implementation money. And LA County continues to negotiate to ensure that we get a portion of the implementation money so we actually can implement December 1, but we are planning as if we will implement December 1st. There is a lot of work groups going on, and at this point, beyond work groups, we are now going to start our stakeholder process, getting out to businesses, communities. We're working with our other county departments, so there's a lot of meetings going on with the first cohort counties. So we are working very closely with our partners at LA Superior Court so that we can implement. We can't implement without them, so they have to be part of this process. We are waiting for all of the forms and rules around this process. So there are petitions that have been drafted. We understand that those should be approved next week. So there actually will be forms available for people to see what a petition will look like if you're filing that, and all of the rules around the petitions and the hearings will be finally approved by Judicial Council. Care Court will be at the Norwalk Courthouse. This is now where our LPS Court and our AOT Court are at. They recently moved there in January of this year. Care Court will also be added to this courthouse. And there could be as many as 2 to 3 additional courtrooms added to the courthouse to accommodate all of these additional proceedings that we are anticipating will come with implementation. The court does intend to have a self-help clinic available at Norwalk for individuals that are going to petition on their own if they want some assistance on that petition, and DMH intends to be at the self-help clinic to be able to assist clients and their families. The issue that is not resolved at this point is who will be the attorney for the respondent or for the client. The statute indicates a preference to basically legal aids organizations, and only if there is not a legal aid association available or entity available, it would then go to the public defender. Unfortunately, this has not been funded yet by the state, and so it still remains a outstanding issue. Who will serve as the respondent's attorney for implementation in the first cohort county? So all of the counties are facing this problem, not just LA. We are in the process of getting ready for staffing, both for the department and our attorneys for county council. We will need to increase staffing for outreach, engagement, assessments, and treatment planning. We anticipate that many clients will need FSP level of care, so we will need to expand our FSP slots. We will be training peers and supporters. And as I said, we are getting funding for the bridge housing. We just submitted our application for that. As you can see, it was $321 million dedicated to LA County alone. We have split that with DPH, with our SAPC counterparts. They will do about 61 million of that will be for their recovery bridge housing, and the rest will be for DMH. And again, care court participants will be prioritized. And then we are submitting an innovations project through MHSA. In the original legislation, there was every client, every respondent was going to get a supporter, somebody that would walk with them through the court process, through all of the treatment process, help them to make decisions, the supportive decision-making model, as well as potentially advanced healthcare directives or psychiatric mental health directives. That was removed from the original legislation, but we thought that was really one of the features we liked about the legislation originally. So because that's no longer part of the legislation, we are putting forward an innovations project where we would provide supporters for every respondent that is in it. If they don't have one of their own, they can bring forward their own supporter, but if they don't have one, we want to make sure that they have one for them. So that project will go to the state for approval this summer, so that one is still pending. I will just add, there was a writ that had been filed by Disability Rights to actually try and stop the implementation of care court. That the Supreme Court ruled on that and it was denied. So we are moving forward with planning and implementation in all the counties. There does not appear at this point to be any legal reason why we would not be able to implement on December 1st. So I will leave it at that and just have a few minutes maybe for some questions. And I'm gonna stop sharing. That might be good.
Thank you so much, Connie. Really appreciating that. I had seen a hand raised, well, we see one from Gerson right now. There also was a previous hand raised from Maria Arellano. Maria, do you still have a question you'd like to pose?
Sí, tenía una pregunta, pero ya se podría decir que ya me la contestaron. Mi pregunta era cuál eran, si tenían disponibles abogados para defender al paciente, abogados de oficio, pero bueno,
defend the client, but I think it was just a little bit of explanation that I know it's something that is barely being implemented. So I think it would be very important, and I would like to have information and updated information on that regarding that topic. If people who are going to go to court before the judge and are going to apply for the care program. Now, care court, does this mean that is when a person is in a crisis that has been previously hospitalized? And my question would be is because if someone is over the age of 18 and he doesn't want to do it voluntarily, then it becomes through care court, through the judge. I just want to have some clear information on that. That means that it has to be obligated. It's by the judge.
Is there an interpretation for that for me?
Yeah, Connie, so first things first, if you could log into the in the toolbar at the bottom, there's an icon for interpretation.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and log into that. For future, you'll hear the future interpretation. But the question from Maria, she said, originally her question was about legal representation for a client coming before care court. She says that portion of her question was answered. She knows that this is still an evolving issue. But then I think she did want clarification on, is this really intended for people that are in a crisis state?
Not necessarily. They need to be, so you have to have a diagnosis of schizophrenia spectrum. So something with schizophrenia in the name of the diagnosis or other psychotic disorder. And then the individual should be deteriorating. That doesn't necessarily mean crisis, right? Because if it's crisis, let's get to a crisis residential and urgent care or something of that nature. But this would be for someone who is experiencing, they are deteriorating, they are not doing well, and they are at risk for being in crisis or being gravely disabled. So it's not necessarily for someone having to be in crisis at the moment.
So it really is about the diagnosis in the moment, not necessarily the history or the past. Then the second question that Maria had was about, is this then the person is brought before a judge, and whether it be, it's not about voluntary or involuntary on the part of the person before the judge. It's really the judge's decision.
So there will be evidence, and at the end of the day, if the client will not voluntarily engage then and agree to be a participant in the process, then you would have a decision made by the judge, right? Where the judge would hear evidence from the Department of Mental Health, from the client and their attorney about whether or not they meet eligibility, and they need to be ordered into the care court program and do a care plan. So it is all court supervised, right? The court will be approving everything. If an individual is a participant in care court, there will be court involvement. There will be ongoing court hearings where the court would look at progress. So it's a civil proceeding, not a criminal court proceeding, and it is court supervised treatment.
Thank you. Hopefully that answered your questions, Maria. We're going to pivot to Gerson, and then we'll go to Maria for a follow-up. But Gerson, ask your question.
Excelente, claro que sí.
It was excellent. Thank you so much. If I may, I had a last question. For example, if the person goes before the judge and they're experiencing some kind of psychosis or schizophrenia, like you just mentioned, if the parent are in charge or they have conservatorship, do the parents have to go with the person? How does that be managed? For example, if they have conservatorship.
So if an individual's on conservatorship, they would, if you want to switch them to care court, that would be the alternative, and the conservatorship would be terminated. So it's a very good question. We do anticipate that there will be individuals who are currently conserved that may transition off of conservatorship to care court, as this being kind of a step down now to the conservatorship, and alternative to that. But you cannot be on care court and on conservatorship at the same time. It's one or the other. And another important point here is all of those individuals that will file the petition, you don't get to stay involved as the petitioner going forward. So once a family member files the petition and the court accepts that petition and it meets basic criteria for a petition, the case will then be sent to the Department of Mental Health, and the Department of Mental Health will be substituted in to be the petitioner going forward for the rest of the process. So I do want to make that clear. You get to petition, but you don't get to stay as the petitioner in it. So hopefully that answered all of your questions.
Thank you, Connie. We did have a question from Gerson Sorto. Gerson, do you still have your question, or has it been answered?
I do. Yes, I do. Thank you, Heather. And thanks for this presentation. A few questions. To start, I know you mentioned some initial, some pieces that still need to be sorted, including some funding pieces and staffing pieces. I'm wondering if, from the department's perspective, there are other initial challenges that you see in implementation besides those that you already shared?
Yeah, I mean, we're very concerned about the numbers. So the state has made estimates that they believe in the first year that there will be over 4,000 petitions filed in LA County alone. And that going through the process, we will have probably about 2,000 clients that would kind of have that whole 1 year process there. And, so where the state came up with these numbers were not, that's not entirely clear to any of the counties, but those are the state's projections. We in LA County think those numbers are a bit low. If you look at just at homelessness, we have a study that looked at 45,000 persons experiencing homelessness, and we did a dive into the diagnoses, and we just carved out diagnoses around schizophrenia spectrum and other psychotic disorder, and we found a 10% prevalence rate in that study. So we're already at 4,500, and that's looking at just one, part of the population of individuals that are eligible. It's not looking at family members who may have individuals living at home. It's not looking at individuals who are justice involved. So we're anticipating the numbers will be higher, probably around 7,000 petitions. And we are anticipating that there could be like a lot of pent up demand for December 1st, where the court and the department will be inundated with petitions. So I think one of the things that is going to be very important for us, and we will be doing, we're going to set up a web page, we're going to set up, a public education campaign. We're going to be out doing presentations because we really want people to understand what the criteria is, because we also don't want individuals to be frustrated by filing a petition and then have it denied because it didn't meet basic eligibility requirements. So we do believe there's a lot of pent-up demand. This is the first opportunity that individuals can go directly to the court to get some sort of court-ordered mental health treatment. Up until this point, you had to go through the department, either through AOT or through the public guardian for conservatorship. So we believe that there could be a lot of initial petitions. And just think about that, December 1st, not a great time for, that's when, we have holidays, we have people, staff, the court, everybody's really concerned about what that first couple of months might look like. And because the deadlines and timelines in the court process are so tight, like I said, every 14 days for hearings. So I think those are some of our initial concerns beyond the things that I indicated with funding.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, that's very insightful. And I guess along the lines of potential volume, I'm wondering if you can speak more to what guidance or policies DMH has or will be creating to inform clinicians, because I'm sure just as the public, right, this will be new for clinicians and wanting to ensure that, this isn't used until it's sort of a last resort for, I think for on our end, ensuring the client's rights, but also in terms of the volume and the process not being overwhelmed.
Yeah. So one of the things that benefits us in LA County is that we've had a longstanding AOT program. And for any of you that are familiar with assisted outpatient treatment, otherwise known as Laura's Law, there are a lot of similar elements between AOT and CarePort. So we already know we're going to utilize those clinicians who already have experience with the court process, eligibility. We think it's like an easy transition to help train them on this, and then we'll build out our staffing, but they will be all in that same part of our workforce, which I think will make it an easier transition, and they'll be able to make appropriate decisions. And our goal, let me just say, our goal in DMH is to get individuals to voluntarily engage and enroll in treatment. And if you voluntarily engage and enroll, actually, we will request the court to terminate the petition for CarePort. You would not need CarePort. So our goal is really to try and get everyone to voluntarily engage and enroll.
Thank you so much. And if there's time, I'd like to ask two hopefully shorter questions. One of them is involving the stakeholder process that you mentioned. I think all of us here would be very interested in supporting the department in that process. Both in getting the word out, but even potentially in helping to shape the way that process is implemented, if there's still an opportunity to do that. So I'll take the liberty of speaking for my partners on here and let us know how we can be of support in that, because we're very interested in community being engaged.
Absolutely.
And then finally, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and I just wanted to elevate that Gerson works for Neighborhood Legal Services of Los Angeles. So he has a particular, I think, opportunity to really help from that lens. And then, of course, you can see the membership around this table. Connie, we're so delighted you're able to join us today. Thank you for such an excellent presentation. And once again, I think to echo what Gerson just said, we do stand ready to support this work. And I think to help, you're always welcome to bring your ideas here for community feedback and reflection. That is really the purpose of this body. So Gerson, your final question.
Thank you, and I appreciate all the time. Finally, maybe this isn't a question you have an answer for now, but as part of that workflow, I know that you mentioned there's the AOT program, and many clinicians already being familiar. I'm wondering if there will be points where it'll become obvious to a patient that this is going, and their family, that this is going down a path of care court, and kind of like what final kind of like 11th hour type of measures might exist to help avoid it. Is there, for example, a role that the ombudsman can play, or some other way that those matters might be escalated for like one final kind of higher level review before a petition is initiated by the department?
So I think that will be built in, I think, in our operations, which is at any point, even if we go into court, let's say we go to court and we're like, yeah, the client meets criteria and they are not willing to voluntarily enroll, and we need to go to through the care process. If in that 11th hour the client says, wait, I'm going to enroll, I'll voluntarily engage, I think we would present to the court, or we would have the opportunity to present to the court to not move forward with that agreement in court supervision and allow it to be voluntary. Now, the court will ultimately have the last say on that, right, if we've gotten that far into the process. But knowing what we know with working with the court, they're looking for individuals to be voluntarily engaged in enrolling. So I think they're going to be open to those 11th hour changes, and where the clients, they may want to talk to the client and say, are you really agreeing to voluntarily engage? But I think we will off ramp at any point that we can off ramp from care court.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Connie, and I appreciate all the time and your answers.
Sure.
Well, thank you so much, Connie. It's been a pleasure getting to meet you, and thank you again for coming forward to share this really incredible, interesting opportunity, so that we can understand a little better about some of the new priorities that are coming down the pipeline in the next year. So we look forward to a future presentation as more information is developed about the Care Court program. With that, we will pivot away from Connie and invite our colleague from the Department of Public Health, Kristen Mundy, to give some updates about what's been going on in public health in this new post-pandemic period. So Kristen, welcome back. It's lovely to have you with us again. We look forward to your presentation. I do have your slides. Hang on. Let me get the slide share going so we can let you weigh in on the Department of Public Health new programs and priorities. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you so much, Heather. As Heather said, my name is Kristen Mundy, and I'm the Regional Health Officer for SPA 4, which is Metropolitan Los Angeles. And I'm also currently covering as the Regional Health Officer for SPA 3, which is San Gabriel Valley. I am proud to be also one of the original members of this Health Innovation Community Partnership. I'm so glad to be here with you today. It's been a while since I attended this meeting. In the next few minutes, I'll be providing a brief update on how we at Public Health are adapting our programming as we transition away from the COVID-19 emergency response. So as some of you may know, in March 2020, most of public health staff, and actually 100% of our team in Community and Field Services Division in SPA 4, were pulled from our regular duties and reassigned to respond to the COVID-19 emergency and also address the community needs during the pandemic. It's been a tough, few years for a lot of us, as I'm sure it has been for some of you, but really proud of the work that we've done and what we have accomplished this past few years. As of last week, we have investigated in public health over 13,000 residential congregate settings and non-residential settings with at least one confirmed case of COVID-19. Of these, 65 are still being currently investigated, and the rest have been closed investigations. Just a reminder that residential settings include nursing homes, assisted living facilities, shelters, treatment centers, supportive living, and correctional facilities. And the non-residential settings include workplaces, food and retail, as well as educational settings. Since January 2021, we stood up 17 DPH-run points of dispensing sites, commonly referred to as pods. Of those, 4 remain open. At these sites, we provided residents with the COVID-19 vaccine. We did it quickly and safely to reduce transmission, morbidity, and mortality from the COVID-19 disease, greatly contributing to an end of the pandemic. As of last week, we have administered over 1.4 million COVID vaccines, over 40,000 Mpox vaccines, and over 20,000 flu vaccines at these sites. In addition, over 6,900 rapid antigen tests were administered at these sites, with more than 580 residents referred for therapeutics. We've also deployed mobile vaccination and testing teams to thousands of venues to make sure we reach those who have had barriers to accessing COVID vaccinations and testings. We created a COVID information referral and vaccination line to answer COVID-related questions from the public and provide appointments and referrals for COVID vaccinations, testing, and therapeutics. Our staff also conducted thousands of COVID-19 presentation and outreaches in the community. So now we're here in 2023. The Board of Supervisors have ended the local COVID-19 emergency effective March 31st. So that means that, a lot of public health staff who have been previously assigned to emergency response roles are being released to resume their regular pre-COVID-19 work. And again, this means that, after more than 3 years, we're starting to get back to the public health activities and initiatives that we did before the pandemic. I would like to note, though, that as the county, state, and the nation transition to the next phase of the COVID-19 response, the Department of Public Health remains fully committed to protecting the safety, health, and well-being of the communities that we serve. So even though most of our staff were involved in COVID response, we continue to make efforts to remain engaged and present with our community and county partners and provide ongoing support to collaborative relationships. This past few months, we've been refocusing our efforts to ensure that county residents have our support on things like substance use, sexual health, nutrition, as well as other essential issues that have really not gone away during the pandemic. In fact, in many instances, as you may all know, these have been exacerbated. So we're taking this opportunity to build on both longstanding relationships that we have with our community partners and new ones that public health made during the COVID-19 pandemic. We are in the planning stages of expanding the scope of resources and services that we provide through the phone beyond the dedicated COVID-19. The new DPH call center will leverage, sustain, and enhance the established public's trust and engagement with DPH and the call center. So this call center will create means by which the community can have their questions answered on a wider range of public health issues post-pandemic, such as women's health, maternal health, nutrition, and tobacco cessation, but also continue as a critical source for information and resources during emergencies. Our team is currently working on various initiatives to address substance use and overdose prevention, food insecurity, teaching community members how to save lives with hands-only CPR, as well as community engagement. Our SPA4 community engagement team is made up of health educators, community health workers, and public health nurses who coordinate outreach events in our community. For example, our staff are training community members on how to use naloxone to reverse opioid overdoses like heroin and fentanyl. They're distributing naloxone at no cost to people who may not have access to it, including those who are uninsured or people experiencing homelessness. Our staff also provide health education around overdose prevention at local schools. This is for staff, parents, as well as students. And we also provide technical assistance for organizations who want to order their own supply for distribution. Another example is hands-only CPR. In Public Health's Heart Heroes campaign, we are committed to training community members to respond to medical emergencies by performing these life-saving interventions. You know, only in the past 3 months, we've trained over 19,000 LA County residents. And moving forward, along with our community partners, we are committed to train 500,000 people by the end of 2023. Getting back to in-person events has been a shift for public health, and I think, you know, for most of you as well. We recently relaunched our wellness community at our Hollywood Wilshire site on Melrose Avenue, which has been, you know, until recently, mostly virtual programming. We're adding more and more in-person programming and resources at the wellness community, and all of those programs are free and open to the public. For example, we have fresh produce distribution twice a month, and this is on the first and third Thursdays of every month. During our operational hours, which is Monday through Saturdays, community members can walk in to receive free diapers, hygiene kits, and other necessary personal items. We're very fortunate to have a DMH clinician on site who holds support groups and emotional wellness workshops. And we also have substance use counselors who can screen individuals for substance use disorder and refer treatment, along with providing harm reduction resources. We have, you know, our website information, so I encourage you to check it for up-to-date programming schedules and registration links for these events. In addition to the events and resources at our wellness community, our team coordinates community building and health education events all over SPA 4, from West Hollywood to Boyle Heights, El Sereno, you know, all of SPA 4. At the wellness here at LA General Medical Center. See, I got your new name correct. Our community health workers deliver weekly workshops on topics like healthy eating and active living, and will soon begin providing hands-only CPR trainings. Across the SPA 4 region, our health educators and public health nurses give a wide range of presentations, you know, like West Nile virus, fall prevention for seniors, and, you know, a whole bunch of public health topics. We also collaborate with community partners to bring these messages to LA County residents. Specific to the city of LA, with a few sites throughout Northeast and East LA areas, we work on a program called Summer Night Lights. This program strives to provide a safe space for youth and families to engage in recreational programming in city parks located in communities that have fewer resources for physical activity and social gathering. So in coordination with the Public Health Office of Violence Prevention and the LA Mayor's Office, our staff participate at these resource fair nights to provide educational information, resources, as well as interactive activities. As in previous years, we anticipate to do this again this summer at city parks in Montecito Heights, El Sereno, Cypress Park, Gazelle Park, Highland Park, and Boyle Heights. And then lastly, our team holds quarterly regional meetings as part of our commitment to engage community partners and create opportunities for collaboration. We bring our partners together to discuss specific public health topics selected by our participants such as homelessness, nutrition, and food insecurity. And we actually have an upcoming meeting on July 11th, and we will be discussing opioid use and overdose prevention in adolescents. This will be our first in-person meeting, so we're really excited about that since, and because we haven't had any in-person meeting for our regional meeting since 2019. This will be held at California Endowment from 10 to noon. Registration's not opened yet, but if any of you are interested, you can check our wellness community website in the coming months for updates. As the year goes on, we're both picking up pre-pandemic projects and events as well as creating new ones so we can best serve SPA4 communities. Being able to work in our communities in person with all of you has been, most rewarding part of our shift back to post-COVID operations. Again, we would like to welcome you to check our website where you can find event listings, workshops, dates, and times, along with helpful resources. I think I'll hand it over back to Heather unless anyone has questions. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Like I say, welcome back to our partnership. We're delighted to have you join us. And thank you for that really comprehensive update on the history of Department of Public Health leadership in the COVID pandemic period, and just the incredible impact you and your colleagues have had on our community to keep us safe, to keep us well, and to help us, survive this incredibly pivotal thing that's happened to all of us that I don't think many of us anticipated in our lifetime. Now, of course, there's new issues and concerns, and care returns back to managing all of the other chronic conditions that impact communities across Los Angeles. So we're excited to see us coming back together in person meetings, in person services. Really grateful for that. Are there any questions for Kristen? I did see that Felix put some information in the chat about how to find the Hollywood Wilshire Wellness Community Center, and we'll definitely be bringing future announcements forward on additional programs and services you all are offering, so we can share that back out with the HICP partnership going forward. But with that, we are a little behind time, so I'll go ahead and thank you so much for your time today, Kristen. And I'm going to move on to our next presenter. Isidro Villanueva from the LA County Department of Economic Opportunity is rejoining us to give a few quick updates from the March presentation. So Isidro, I know you're short on time, but thank you for hanging tight with us for these next couple minutes.
Sure. Good morning. Buenos dias. Isidro Villanueva with the county's Department of Economic Opportunity. And let me share my slides, I think, if I can. And let me know if you can see it.
Yep, looks good.
Perfect. So again, Isidro Villanueva with the county's Department of Economic Opportunity. Buenos dias. I'll try to be quick but precise. So just here to give you a couple updates. As you recall, there's the county has a local and targeted worker hire policy for its construction projects. And you saw some of that with some of the projects that were taking place there at the now LA General Medical Center. And with the HICP, there was a community benefits agreement that was agreed to because the county has, again, a 30% local hire. With the benefit agreement, we wanted to see those projects kind of reach a 50% local hire, in particular, a goal of kind of reaching that or emphasizing on a 2-mile radius of local workers, or recruiting from the 2-mile radius for local workers versus kind of the county-wide approach in helping find local workers. So again, some of those projects there at the medical center have been realized as you're now seeing some of those facilities open up. However, there is still another ongoing project where we are in need of local workers. And it had previously been referred to the 30 and Dangler because of the location, but that is now known as Las Dalias. It is a housing development center that's being built. So again, we are in need of local workers. So if you are interested or know of anybody that's interested, or we can help share, spread the word and share this information. Power to Workers is the entity, the organization working on helping identify those local workers. So please, again, if we have anybody, please refer them. You have the flyers here, and I'll share the presentation and the actual flyers with Heather so she can share out with the rest of the group. And so again, they're looking for local workers. There's more information as to Las Dalias and kind of what that housing development will be like, and when those opportunities to apply for the housing will happen. So there's more information there on that link there. But this project is slated to end at the end of this year. But again, currently our focus is on local workers to help with the construction efforts. Now, I might not get a chance to, but we also have a county-wide construction training program. We're calling it a High Road Training Partnership and Construction, where we're putting people through an 8-week training program to access union apprenticeship opportunities. But that's county-wide. And those trainings are taking place countywide. We currently don't have a training program taking place out in the East LA area. But if we get enough interest or enough people from the East LA area that want a training program, then we can schedule a training program out in the East LA area. So again, when you reach out to Power to Workers, if people are interested in training, let them know that they want training in the East LA area, or email me, or have people email me, so then we can schedule a training program to take place out in the East LA area. So that's the update there on the local worker hire, the need for local workers. Again, 30 and Dangler, hoping to get individuals from at least the 2-mile radius, if not definitely focus on the 5-mile radius. In addition, we're working with our Department of Mental Health. They're looking for community health workers, or as maybe some of you might know them as promotoras. So there's a big need countywide. We're looking for people also with that can speak different languages to outreach to the different communities in the county. I would like to have you pay special attention and a big shout out to our Department of Mental Health, because there's such a big need, and there's a huge demand, not just within the county, but overall in finding community health workers and promotoras, that they raise the wage, as you see here, to almost $23 an hour to kind of help attract and retain individuals to enter county employment. So these are county jobs with the Department of Health Services, again, starting at $22.97. Again, county benefits, no high school diploma required, full-time and part-time positions available. And again, people get a bilingual bonus if they do speak one of the languages that are needed in order to kind of do this job. So again, I'll share the flyer and I'll share the PowerPoint with Heather, but you have a link there where people can apply for full-time or part-time. And if they have any questions, again, they can reach out to me. But again, $22.97, this job is offering to start as a community health worker or promotora. On Thursday, May 25th, we are having a business community resource fair in partnership with our Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. So then this is for anybody that either has a small business, is looking to start a new business. We're going to have different resources at this, obviously different resources at this resource fair to kind of help people kind of learn about either different tax credits or resources or services that are available to our small businesses, or again, to any individuals that are looking to kind of get more information on how to start a business or how to get their business registered or how to certify their business with the county. Please have them attend this resource fair. Again, it's on Thursday, May 25th from 10 to 2 p.m. The address is 753 South Laverne, again, in East Los Angeles. And also anybody maybe that's looking for a job. It's not necessarily a job fair, but then if there's any employees that need assistance, either with information about their benefits or resources through their current work, or maybe they just want to get more information as to where to go to help with assistance with the job, they can go there. I guess not necessarily a job fair, but then we'll help any individuals that are seeking a job. What I want to also inform people about is our department oversees the county's America's Job Centers of California. That is our workforce development system. And so last month we released the request for proposals for our new America's Job Centers, and where we're calling our AJCC modernization request for proposals. And so what we're looking for is nonprofits, profits, public entities, social enterprises that can come in and be, provide the services through one of our job centers. We're going to be funding what we call 7 comprehensive job centers countywide, one of them being out in the East LA area. And in addition, we're going to have an additional 9 affiliates associated with the 7 different comprehensive job centers. So again, we're currently asking for proposals for organizations to bid on to becoming one of our job centers. In particular, what we're going to be implementing with this new request for proposals is we're going to be asking each of our job centers to focus on becoming a center of excellence on 2 fronts. One, what we call a sector base, meaning they're going to represent whether it be healthcare, information technology, aerospace. They're going to be the leading entity for the county in one of those sectors. But then in addition to that, what we're also asking them to be is a population-based center of excellence, so that we'll be focusing on English language learners, fostering opportunity youth, individuals experiencing at risk of plus immigrants and refugees, what we call justice impacted or system impacted individuals, LGBTQIA plus individuals, person with disabilities, and older workers, and a specific veterans job center. So in our new RFP, again, our proposals, we're going to be looking at entities that can kind of help become these centers of excellence, again, around these 2 fronts, sector-based and population-based, to again, make sure that one, we're connected with industries and identifying job opportunities here in the county within those different sectors, but then also that, those opportunities are equitably accessible, again, by the different populations that you see here. Just to note some timetables, and again, you can visit our website here where you can get more information on how to apply for that. But in addition to that, in addition to the entities that will be running our job centers, what we also want to do is help increase the capacity of our local CBOs, community-based organizations. So what we're going to be asking, or what's new in this RFP, is that entity that gets funded, they need to bring along a CBO partner with them that can help focus on servicing either with services based on that sector or the population that they're going to be focusing on. So any CBOs that are interested in signing up and partnering with one of our job centers, they can go to our website and sign up, so that one of those funded agencies can reach out to them and partner with them. They will be a funded partner. Again, they won't be running our job centers or our the day-to-day services, but we are asking our job centers to partner with the local CBO to help focus again on either the outreach or the engagement within a particular sector or with their particular population. So again, I encourage everybody to visit our website to get more information. There's a ton of information. The proposals are due June 22nd of 2023. Anybody that's interested in applying must submit a letter of intent today. They're due today at 12. But the proposals are due on June 22nd. Again, so any entity that wants to become a job center must submit that letter of intent and submit proposal by June 22nd. But then any small community-based organization that's interested in partnering, they just need to sign up and put their name on the list, so then the funded partners can reach out to them. In addition, I mentioned this before, we are running an economic opportunity grant program for both our small businesses and nonprofits in the county. This is a website where you can go and apply. We have 2 different phases, and there's different grant amounts depending on either the size of the business or how much revenue a business is intaking. So there's different grant amounts, different grants. So I encourage everybody to visit or share the information on our website here, where people can go and get more information on the grants and how to apply at grants.lacounty.gov. However, these opportunities or these grants are available to mostly businesses outside of the city or in unincorporated areas. There are some grants that are available, and I mean by the city of LA, because the city of LA has its own grant opportunity programs. So before you apply, again, if you're in an unincorporated area of Los Angeles, you should be okay. But if you're not quite sure, I encourage you to call our call center to get assistance, just to make sure which application you should be referred to, whether the one here through the county or the one at the city of LA. But again, for more information, visit our grants.lacounty.gov. There is an application deadline coming up on May 20th. But again, before you apply, I encourage you to call and just to make sure you know which grant to apply for, and whether or not you would qualify for one through the county, or if you need to apply one with the city of Los Angeles. What I'll do is I'll kind of go through these quickly because I shared these before, and I'll share them with Heather. We are still running our Fair Chance awareness campaign. And there's 2 events coming up for individuals who have been system impacted and want to get more information on how to either expunge their records, or kind of how to go about mitigating any job offers that have been denied or rescinded because of a criminal or a background check. So there is an event coming up next week at Southwest College. And then there's another one on Friday, June 2nd out in Pomona. So again, I'll share this information, but again, you can also visit our website on Fair Chance Hiring and get more information. And so we encourage people to sign up. Like I mentioned, we have our countywide career construction training program with the Apprenticeship Readiness Fund that's preparing individuals for apprenticeship opportunities. If anybody's interested, you can email us here and we'll reach back out to you. And with that, I'll go ahead and end there. And again, I'll share the PowerPoint with Heather and all the flyers for all the programs that I mentioned.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Isidro. And thank you for sticking with us so long after the time you were available. We did have one question about what is available to undocumented individuals or those with an ITIN.
Yes. So currently, like I said, our funding is coming from the federal government. So currently, individuals they in order to participate in any of our workforce development programs through our job centers, they do have to have right to work documentation. So if they have that, we can assist them. But again, we know that there is a huge community here that don't necessarily have those documents. So with our new RFP, what we want to do is find resources so that we can be able to assist them, either to help them get those right to work documentations, so that we can enroll them and service them through our federal funded programs. But with our new iteration of our new workforce development program, we're trying to address that need.
Thank you so much for that update. And that's wonderful to know that you're helping individuals apply for and achieve that status so that they can take full advantage of the wonderful programs you offer. So thank you so much, Isidro. Appreciating you today. It looks like I do want to release you because I know you stayed well past the time you were intending to, but we're very grateful for your updates. All of this information will be on our website, and we will be sending it around to the attendance list for today's meeting. So thank you again, Isidro.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we have as mentioned, we were so excited to have Connie Draxler from the Department of Mental Health join us that we ended up spending a little more time on that presentation than was originally budgeted, but we're excited to continue forward with our presentations. I'm asking our colleagues from Century, Gilbert and Oscar, I hope they're still with us, to go ahead and do a brief presentation on some of the updates on their project as the Restorative Care Village Permanent Supportive Housing. Gilbert.
Yeah. Hi, Heather. Can you hear me?
Yay, you're there. I can hear you, and I've got your slides up on the screen, so go ahead and take it away.
Yeah. So we're actually at Los Angeles General Medical Center now for the health fair event, and we're making our way in there. So I'll be brief. I just want to remind everybody we gave a really thorough presentation at our last HICP meeting. I think it was April 14th. So if you go to the recording of that, I think it starts at minute 58. We gave like a half-hour presentation, and you can catch up if you missed anything. Today, I'll just keep it brief. Really, there's just one purpose for this update today, and Heather just went to the correct slide, which is the workshop flyers. So we have 2 in-person community workshops, one next Thursday at the Lincoln Heights Senior Center. That's next Thursday, May 11th. And then one the following Tuesday, May 31st. Hold on one second.
May 16th.
Yeah, sorry, I just got a phone.
Okay.
May 16th at the Los Angeles General
Medical Center. I think we have to update. Oh, poor Gilbert. You just made these beautiful flyers and we already got corrections.
So the purpose of today's call is just to let folks know our community engagement consultant, Urban Samias, is pounding the pavement, getting flyers and the word out to nearby communities, nearby neighborhoods. And we are also following up with suggestions that we've gotten from either from our friends at the county or HICP or HICP subcommittee. Heather, if you can go to the next slide. So just want to let everybody know briefly, we previewed our plans for the community workshop to the HICP subcommittee last Wednesday. And we kind of covered, the way the workshops would run. The workshops will last for 2 hours, and there's an early open of an additional half hour. So early open, additional, half hour, and then a full 2 hours for the workshop. Heather, if you can go to the next slide. These are the goals of the workshop. You can see them there. I won't read them all, but to me the most significant one is just making sure that we get the input that we need to make sure the project is as beneficial as it can be. I made the case on April 14th that I think we've really packed a lot of benefits for the community into this site and into our vision of the project. So we want to get the community's impressions on that, and then see what other suggestions there are that we potentially would try to incorporate. And then if you can go to I think the last slide, Heather, which is just the agenda for the workshop. This is the workshop at the Lincoln Heights Senior Center next Thursday, May 11th. You can see that the workshop starts at 6:30, but we have doors open at 6. And then from 6:30 to 8:30, we have the official workshop. We try to keep the presentation period as brief as possible. But we also know we're going to be presenting to folks who may not be familiar with the project. So we try to balance out giving people an orientation to the project, to the design. So we've tried to keep that brief and try to keep as much time for the interactive sessions. So those are scheduled for over an hour. And again, with the HICP subcommittee, we kind of ran through all of these different areas and kind of looked at these. With the interactive stations, we'll have note takers, feedback boards, translators, in addition to the folks that work on these particular areas. GGA is the architect that does the design. Studio MLA is the landscape architect. that that has designed the outdoor space and other public areas there. And then Heart Forward LA is our specialist with enrichment services, which we term radical hospitality. And so these folks will be there. So, feedback will be taken verbally, in terms of community members interacting with these folks, as well as Century. Century will be at all of these stations, and we'll get that feedback on a note board. But also we'll have specific feedback boards that will be asking particular questions that we do want to get feedback on. So that's the overview of the workshops. Again, Thursday, May 11th, Tuesday, May 16th. I can't promise that it doesn't conflict with any Lakers playoff games, but we'll cross our fingers. And yeah, so any questions?
Yeah, do we have any questions for Gilbert? So exciting. I think any questions we might share today are really going to be answered fully at these upcoming meetings. So encouraging everyone to either come out next Thursday or the following Tuesday to one of these opportunities to really get to dig in deep with all of the partners that are helping design this incredible facility, just catty corner to our campus at Zonal and Mission. But do we have any questions for Gilbert at this time? And if you're on the LA General campus, you can swing by their booth and ask those questions in person. So thank you so much, Gilbert, for sticking with us. Hopefully you'll have a fun day out there on the campus for the Cinco de Mayo Health Fair.
Hi, I have a quick question. Oh, sorry.
Here we go. Hey, Addie.
Hey. Oh, yeah.
Hi,
I was
have a
gonna
quick
ask.
question. You go
Go ahead,
first.
please. All right. I wanted to ask, what's the outreach plan in terms of getting the audience there?
Gilbert, you're on mute.
Gilbert, you're muted.
Okay, it's different on the phone. I don't like it on the phone.
Oh,
You went on mute again.
Unfortunately, you're muted again. You pressed something and you're muted again, Gilbert.
All right, I think I'm good now. Yes,
You're good now.
Yes.
You're good.
So two answers to that, one broad and then one more specific. So the broader one is that we did put together a community outreach plan that was actually reviewed by the HICP subcommittee, and that kind of, there's a helicopter, that kind of gave the specifics of how we were going to be conducting our outreach over the next year, including these two design workshops. For these two design workshops, so Urban Samias, again, our outreach consultant, they will be flyering. We identified primary areas, especially in Lincoln Heights and Boyle Heights, but we also looked at some additional areas a little bit further out that we felt were important to market this event to. And so through flyers of businesses and homes, we'll be distributing that. We have a lot of folks doing that today, and then we're going to be doing that again next week. And then in addition, we're following up with, we've presented the project to CD14. We will also be presenting to CD1. They are going to be, I hope, blasting the workshop flyer out to their networks. Supervisor Solis's office has been very involved with the project. And so they will be doing the same with their network. And then in addition, we were given some additional ideas from the HICP subcommittee in terms of connecting with particular community groups or particular, out the schools was one that was suggested that we'll be following up on, and we'll be doing a broadcast email to the Los Angeles General Medical Center staff. A number of our HICP subcommittee members are staff at the Los Angeles General Medical Center, so we definitely keep them on our radar in terms of a primary community to outreach to. So that broadcast email, I know that Agnes had sent me some details. There's some hoops I got to jump through to be able to get that sent out, but hopefully that should be going out early next week. let me know if there was any if that answered your question, or if there were any other questions or anything more.
Yeah, Ari, do you have any other recommendations for Gilbert in terms of other activities you think would be worthwhile to get the word out? Oops, Ari went on mute.
Yeah, well, I guess we could send out the flyer to the nonprofits and that are associated with our group, and of course HICP organizations.
Yeah, I'll definitely take that. I think that's a great suggestion, Ari. I'll be working, Gilbert, with our internal communications team to make sure we get blasts out to the HICP distribution list, and also we can, do some postings on our social media, and kind of hopefully that will connect us through to some of our additional nonprofit partners. And then I see
Great.
Guadalupe with hand raised as well.
Oh yeah, and Heather, just to respond to that, I also brought you and Rosa 100 copies of it's the flyer in English and Spanish, and then also a fact sheet in English and Spanish, so that you can hand those out. I think Rosa had asked for that, so you can hand those out in person, but also, as you mentioned, the email blast would be great.
Wonderful. Yes, we are. The whole campus, as you know, is opening back up to more and more in-person services and activities. So great opportunity to be able to take those tangible flyers and get them into people's hands that really care about our campus. Guadalupe.
I just wanted to add that, there was things that were lifted up, just making sure we flyer folks and sent via email to our constituencies that were participating in the past, as well, around, the coming out, and, the communities, like Chinatown, Little Tokyo Service Center area, the Northeast, all those areas, just the East LA area, and so that was one of the things that was raised, as well as reaching out through the schools, right? The schools, I think there's that text that is sent, and I believe contacting the school to make sure the parents get the information as well to participate. That was also, and I believe that's going to be done too.
That's right, Guadalupe, and a lot of this is in our that outreach plan that I mentioned. But some of this some of this has been brought up during our subcommittee meeting last week, and we definitely put those on our radar, and are also following up there. I followed up with Monica, who mentioned a particular board member, LAUSD board member, that will be also reaching out to and following up with. So definitely all of those will be followed up with. And there was something I was going to mention, but I just forgot. But yes, definitely.
And also, I think the on-campus, the workers, right? I think there was also the interest to notify them, as well, from the.
Yeah, and I spoke to that in terms of the blast, the broadcast blast that we'll be doing. What Heather and Rosa just mentioned in terms of, what Heather just mentioned in terms of also getting it out to the nonprofit partners, and then also in terms of the in-person flyers, and also we're holding that second meeting here on campus. That meeting actually starts at 5:30 instead of 6:30, and we move that time up to better accommodate some of the shift changes of some of the folks that actually work at the medical center.
Thanks, Gilbert. We do have an additional question from Pauletta.
Oh, one additional thing, I just remember now what I was going to mention. So if you go to our website, so we have a website for the project, and if Oscar's on the call, he can give out the website. I'm forgetting it right now. I'll do my best to remember it and give it out. But if he's on the call, he can give it out. But on our website,
it's in the chat actually, Gilbert.
Oh, okay, great. Great. Okay. So on our website is a link to the community outreach plan. So we have that linked in both English and Spanish. And on the website is also where we are going to post all of the feedback. So all of the feedback that we get from these 2 workshops, we're going to consolidate, synthesize, into written notes. And we'll also be posting it. Right now, if you look at our website, there's a section that advertises the workshops. That's a section where we'll put the actual notes and feedback that we get from these 2 community workshops.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Pauletta Pierce. I'm a person that works in the community and also a substance abuse counselor. I've been watching the whole restorative care village rise up from the ashes. And for the last couple of years, the last 2 years, the parts that are open, I've been trying to make a contact to refer clients there because I work with substance use. And a lot of the people that I see, they can't necessarily go into a residential setting because they have so many medical issues going on. So I think that's the idea of the restorative care village, to give folks a chance to kind of get a little better before they're able to, move on to perhaps a residential setting to address their SUD. And it's just really, so my question is, are we working on a referral process? I've even talked to people that work in the actual LAUSC, and they're not even aware of how to connect with the part that is open in the restorative center. I'm a person that lives in the community. I'm a person that works in the community. I formerly had a meeting at the Wellness Center. Hi, Heather. Nice to see you again.
Yes, good to see you again, Pauletta.
Yeah. So, I feel like I should be in the front of the line to get that connection, to get that, collaboration going on.
Yes, absolutely. So, so that you can understand, Pauletta, Gilbert is here representing the permanent supportive housing piece that is under development right now. He is not aligned to the 2 open centers, like you mentioned, our recuperative care center and our crisis residential treatment program. Those are the ones that are open already, and they're being managed by other agencies. We actually, at the very top of this meeting, had a presentation by the chief medical officer of LA General about exactly this issue. How does one access, how does one get beds at the crisis residential treatment program and the recuperative care center? Monica Alcaraz is with us. And I don't know, Monica, if you could speak at all to the referral process through Exodus to get access to the crisis residential treatment program.
Thank you so much.
I think it just depends on where the person is coming from, because my client was at a hospital. He was on a hold, and then that hospital referred him to the center. Usually when we make usually we do everything through Housing for Health as far as the referral process. Like there's like a form that we submit that they give us, so I don't know if it'd be different for the community. Right. I mean, I can find out more, but I think, getting it from them, it's just, I think because we work in this, it's just different than if it's from outside of the of people that don't work in this field. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what, I was, pretty much came to the conclusion. Well, it would be nice if there would be some kind of collaboration, only because I work with homeless healthcare and I'm seeing people constantly right from the surrounding areas. And I've attended many of the community meetings of the restorative care village, and the concept is fantastic. It is needed. But being from a smaller agency, homeless healthcare,
yeah. I mean, I work with homeless healthcare, the homeless, can't remember his name, but I work with you guys, so I'll find out, because I think we've just you submit that documentation, but I'll send you my email, and then you can just reach out to me.
And then
Perfect.
that
Thank
way
you
I
so
can get the
much.
documentation.
Yeah, and then Guadalupe, you had your hand raised. Did you want to respond to this comment?
No, well, just want to thank the speaker for raising, that interest and that inquiry with other agencies. How could they connect to this resource? That's something that we can definitely take back, in regards to the question. So thank you for that. And we'll, I think we should be able to come back with at a future to just in regards to what's possible, just to improve the referral system, and how do we capture, others that are outside of the network within the campus, right? And but thank you for that inquiry.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pauletta, your timing could not be better because honestly, this was the conversation we started today's meeting with, was exactly that. How does the referral process work if it's not coming directly from the medical center itself? And so I do advise you connect with Monica because she's had some success in this area. She probably has more familiarity that might be able to guide you. Also, because you work for homeless healthcare, I'm not sure if you're close with your colleague Sylvia Meza, but Sylvia Meza works quite closely with LA General as well. So I would also say reach out to Sylvia and see what success she might have had. And then again, Pauletta, if you're not, if you're pursuing all the avenues and it's not working, then please come back and report back to us so we know that there's a gap and something's not following through with the needs of the community. As we know, the Restorative Care Village, Recuperative Care Center, and Crisis Residential Treatment Program, they've been open for a little less than a year. We're still in that growing phase. Dr. Brad Spellberg mentioned there's still some staffing, limitations that we're trying to fill up so that we can have full capacity in those sites. But continue to be that strong advocate for your clients, and so that we can really maximize the utilization of this incredible facility on our campus. Like you described, this is exactly its purpose. And then ultimately, when Gilbert's project, the permanent supportive housing, comes online, there could be a pathway and a flow through from being at the transitional housing on our campus into permanent supportive housing, either across the street or somewhere else in the community that makes more sense. So we're so grateful to the work you do and to the partnership you bring in terms of, making sure this is successful to meet community needs.
Oh, thank you. Yes, yes. Yes, I'm worked with Sylvia, and but the problem is it's just one person and she may not be here, or she's busy with, so, and then it just needs to be a little more easier, because honestly, the people that I see, I have like maybe 20 minutes to show them hope. If it's not happening, they're gone. Yeah.
They're gone. Yeah. There's that really immediate need and opportunity that's so hard to address. Well, like I say, please reach out to Monica. She does very similar work, and so hopefully she can help guide you a little bit in what's been successful for her. But thank you again, Pauletta, for bringing it forward. Gilbert, you have a finger raised.
Oh yeah, my last thing, and then I should probably go, and you probably need to move the agenda on. But I wanted to speak really quickly to Pauletta. So yes, Restorative Care Village, it's a continuum of care. Our phase, actually, even though it's phase 2 of 3 phases, it kind of represents the furthest end of that continuum, which is permanent supportive housing and affordable housing. The project is looking to be done in summer 2027, so there's a little while. But one of the things we're already doing with these workshops, and even here in this meeting, is getting organizations that we will follow up with beginning in probably early 2027 to begin to let them know that, hey, this new housing, this new permanent supportive housing and affordable housing will be coming online later in the year. And so, literally one of the things we're doing is just getting those organizations down. We know of a few. Your organization wasn't on our radar, and we'll definitely now put it there. If you're not going to be at either of the community workshops, that is one of the pieces of feedback we're going to be asking for. But if you just type it in now, and I think you already typed in your email, so I'll ask Oscar to take note of that. And that'll be one of those organizations we'll follow up with, even if we, are not in touch for a year or so, just because for whatever reason, when the time comes, you'll be on that list of places that we follow up with.
Perfect. So the homeless healthcare is my current organization. I also work with Bold Recovery, and they work with, they have a excellent program for sex offenders, which is needed too. And then in just the community, I have connections to 12-step meetings in English and Spanish.
Okay, great.
So I'm gonna put my personal email in there too, if someone could just do it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pauletta, for the excellent kind of reflection. And thank you always, Gilbert, for joining us and sharing out. We're really excited about these upcoming community meetings. Very excited also for the report back of what you learn over the next couple of weeks. So we'll expect a nice conversation back again in June. We are at time today, but we're going to power through these last few slides. We do have one final update for you. It's about the General Hospital West Campus request for proposals update. So Rosa, I don't know if you want to kind of walk us through just the opportunity that's coming up for some community meetings, and then I can talk a little bit about the evaluation process that's underway. So the request for proposals process is underway. As we know, we are currently, we have completed the kind of initial phases of the RFP. Our next upcoming deadline is the proposal submissions, which are due on June 2nd. So very exciting. We're hoping that there's a lot of interested developers that are putting those packages together, and we're looking forward to receiving those proposals by June 2nd. After that, we'll go into the evaluation review period, proposer interviews, and then ideally the preferred proposal will be selected by about mid to late August, and that will then be put forward before the Board of Supervisors for their approval of that selection. And then that developer will enter into an exclusive negotiating agreement with the county to determine the parameters of their agreement. But we are wanting to go back out to the community and continue our conversation with you all about what this looks like and what this really means. So we're excited to be offering some community meetings coming up in the next couple months. Rosa, would you like to, I hope you're still with us. Would you like to join and make any comments?
I am. I'm still here.
Yay, fantastic.
So it's a wonderful, so it's a wonderful opportunity to engage with all of you and then our broader community. As you can see, we have a respectable group of members that come to the monthly meeting, and I know there's a recording. We have a number of members that watch that as well if they're unable to make this meeting. But we really want to make sure that we're always fresh in our engagement with our community. There's always new voices, that are coming into this discussion, and that we're not leaving any groups out. So we're going to be, so today I feel is like a day of HICP membership homework, because, we have the invitations for the Century Housing meetings, that we'd love to have you, go out and distribute and have people come to those meetings. And then, there's again, these opportunities to think about, how we improve overall pathways for housing. So please, if you heard the call to action today, help us make that connection. Now, with our Health Innovation Community Partnership, we've been online for quite a few years now, right? And we really want to make sure that we make the commitment back to in-person meetings. So to move us in that direction, we've got 2 community meetings that we want to host in our neighborhoods. And so the first one is the, do we have a date, by the way, Heather? I think we do, right? Or we have a save the date?
We have a proposed date that's not been confirmed yet. It's May 24th.
Okay, so save the date for May 24th, which will be one of the meetings that we host. And again, we want your input as to where the meeting should be. We were thinking 2 meetings. The last time we did this, we went to 5 meetings, but we start with 2 and see how we do. And then maybe we can, increase in the following month. Just wondering if you all thought that was a good idea. I know it's the end of the meeting. So what I think I'll do is I'll reach out to a few of you, but if you have thoughts and want to share with us, we're happy to hear them and engage you in the development of those presentations at the community meeting. What I loved about the series the last time is that we had hospital leadership, we had county leadership from HICP, and we had leadership from the membership of HICP. So I feel like we wanted to use the same type of format it's a little bit different now, because we're not only talking about conceptual future, but we're actually talking about the reality that has occurred here in the last few years. So I feel like it's going to be a really exciting time to have these discussions with our community and to hear back if there are areas that we still need to continue to work on, that we do that as well. So please join us in the series of these community meetings to continue to engage our local residents and new stakeholders as we push forward into in-person meetings. So again, save the date for May 24th, 5:30 to 8 o'clock. It'll be sometime around that time, and we'll have flyers and an outreach that we're asking our membership to help us with. So that's all I have. Back to you, Heather.
Thanks, Rosa. All right, so our last final minutes together today, I wanted to do a quick update on the evaluation period, which is what comes right after we receive all of those fabulous proposals from our developers. The evaluation process has been submitted and approved by County Council. It is going to consist of an evaluation committee of senior county leadership with several evaluation advisory groups providing information to the evaluation committee to inform their decision. One of the evaluation advisory groups will focus on community benefits, and that advisory group will be formed by invitation from the project team and Supervisor Solis's office. We plan to seat the advisory group in May, and the review process will happen during the month of June. The purpose of the evaluation advisory group is really to, review the developer proposals with that lens of community benefit, and then make an assessment as to whether those developers were responsive to the RFP itself, and they're really fulfilling upon that goal and mission of delivering the highest level of community benefits possible. Our schedule right now is that we will be sending invitations out to participate in this opportunity the week of May 15th. The membership of the evaluation advisory group will be confirmed the week of May 22nd. We will have an onboarding meeting the week of June 5th. And then materials will be sent out the week of June 12th. And then each member of the committee will go into an individual review period of about 2 weeks. And then we'll convene the committee all together the week of June 26th to fully discuss and share feedback and commentary on the different proposals. If you are interested in being a member of the evaluation advisory group for community benefits, we invite you to please submit your email address and name in the chat right now. You're also welcome to go to our website and you can input the information there. The commitment you would be making to participate is that you will be able to attend the required meetings, you will be able to commit the time for the review process, and all of that is to happen during the month of June. So we're estimating about 20 hours of committed time across the month of June. We also would require all participants to sign a conflict of interest and a non-disclosure statement. We also just want to acknowledge that we're excited to bring forward community leaders into this process to really reflect on the responsiveness of these proposals to the community benefits needs. So like I say, if you're interested, please go ahead and put your information in the chat. You also may go to our website and input the information there, and we will show you where that is on our website. This is our Health Innovation Community Partnership website. Under the General Hospital West Campus Request for Proposal tab. Scroll on down and you will see the Evaluation Advisory Group for Community Benefits. You're also welcome to complete the form here with your name, your phone number, your email, and just a brief statement as to why you'd like to serve on the advisory group. So we're very excited to kick this off. Like I say, it's going to be moving pretty quickly over the month of May as we confirm participation, and then the month of June when the meetings will happen. And that is everything for that. Real quick now, before the end of the meeting, partner announcements. We learned that the Boyle Heights City Planning Commission presentation was unanimously approved on April 20th. We're going to be inviting members of the City Planning Commission to come and share out those recommendations that have been approved by the City Planning Commission and are now being forwarded to the full City Council for approval. But it's a really good initiative to kind of be thoughtful and try to manage development in the city of Boyle, in the area community of Boyle Heights, to ensure that health equity, health justice, environmental equity and justice are really informed by community needs. So stay tuned. We hope to be presenting that at one of our closely upcoming meetings for Health Innovation Community Partnership. We also, as Rosa mentioned, there are several upcoming meetings and events coming up. You're invited to join us for any and all of them. There's the Cinco de Mayo Health Fair today, Hospital Week activities next week on our LA General Campus, and then we'll have our RCV Permanent Supportive Housing meetings hosted by Century on May 6th, 11th and 16th. And then we're going to be promoting our General Hospital West Campus RFP community meetings. We have that tentative date of May 24th, and we'll be looking to host another meeting in the month of June. So that is everything that's going on. And we're very excited to have you with us for today's incredible rapid fire meeting. I will look forward and invite you all to join us back at the next HICP meeting on Friday, June 2nd. And with that, we wish you a wonderful Cinco de Mayo, a wonderful weekend, and enjoy the beautiful month of May ahead. Look forward to seeing you all soon.